How's it going, everybody? It's the Joni Little Fox here. It's my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today I'm here to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and specifically I'm talking about the Netflix live-action remake. So this is gonna be my little review on it. I know some people have definitely been asking me what are my thoughts or what are my opinions and stuff. And since I kind of do reviews and stuff here and there, and because I like to put my thoughts out there or just give my little take on something or my little input, I decided, like, why not just dedicate a video to it? I mean, I had to watch 8 episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix version. So, um, I definitely got some stuff to say, that I feel like that's worth saying. So, let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to tell you my experiences with Avatar. So, growing up in the 2000s, Avatar was like one of my favorite Nickelodeon cartoons, right up there with SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, and Jimmy Neutron. I jumped in around like book two when I was a kid, and I liked the merch that they were kind of selling in malls, so that's kind of what got me into it. I didn't buy anything like that, but I just saw it and I was like, you know what, that looks cool. Maybe I might check out Avatar. So checked it out, and I did myself a favor there. And I can't forget the hype and the presence that like book three definitely had, because I definitely remember all those episodes coming out. Definitely building up to like the final showdown between Aang and Ozai and stuff. The announcements of each new episode, like oh snap, Zuko just hired a Combustion Man, the new assassin guy, to kill Aang and stuff, or oh Ember Island, or the play episode. Yeah, who could forget that? Or oh snap, Sokka and Zuko are gonna go rescue Sokka's dad, Hakoda, from the boiling point and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. Like yeah, I definitely remember those episodes getting announced, just like as if it was like yesterday. Just nostalgic. But yeah, but even when those shows kind of ended, like they will always play reruns and stuff from like Nicktoons and stuff. So I've rewatched Avatar: Last Airbender like a lot of times. I don't know how many to really keep track of, but I've rewatched it and I definitely remember every single episode thanks to those like reruns and stuff, like watching it on Nicktoons. Yeah, I remember every single episode because they all had like a purpose or whatever. And I even have it on the box set too. So like that's also pretty cool. But anyways, back on topic. So I think I can speak for everyone when I say, like, if you're a fan of Avatar, you most likely liked it for the action, the concept, the story, the lore, the characters, most of all, and just how anime inspired it is. And it was a perfectly written show for the most part, with a beginning, middle, and end. But with a show like this, some spin offs and adaptations didn't exactly resonate with some of the audience. Like back in 2009, the movie director, sorry, M. Night Shyamalan produced his own movie called The Last Airbender, adapting the first book, or season one essentially, which it got a lot of criticism for, and it was just done poorly. And I can respect that he got into it because his daughter was like a fan of Katara, but it was like one of those ideas that was like good on paper but terrible in execution. And I saw it on like a bootlegged copy when I was younger, like with me and my stepbrother and stuff. We were just kids. We saw it from home and all that stuff. What else? Then there was Legends of Korra. It's a sequel series following Aang's next incarnation, Korra, the new Avatar, which kind of came out in 2013. So I was like around a teenager around that age. But I was still in middle school though. Most people kind of hated the series and the character for not like living up to the expectations. Personally, myself, I think the series in Korra was actually kind of fun, for what it was. But I feel like the series gets dogged on way too much. Even after it ended for years. Like I'm like, even if you think that Legends of Korra is not a good show, I don't think Legends of Korra deserved the amount of hate that it gets. Like I'm just like Jesus Christ, everybody is like, yeah, just shitting on this series, even like years. Like yeah, it's been like 10 years or whatever. It was not 10 years now. Well, 10 years since it aired, definitely, or 11 now since it aired. But it ended back in like, if I'm not mistaken, 2015. So 9 years. But I'm just like Jesus Christ, the show's not relevant anymore. Why you guys want to trash it? But then, of course, there were some tie-in comics explaining the aftermath and solving certain mysteries, like Zuko's mom's disappearance and so on and so forth, that Avatar: The Last Airbender had. And now here we are in 2024, where we have an anime live-action shows are just the latest trend. So, yeah. Alright, so what are my thoughts on this show? The new show isn't half bad, but it's not good either. Alright, I mean, normally I usually like to save my scores and stuff for like the end of the video and all that stuff and just tell you, oh, okay, well, this is how I think of it overall, but I'll just tell you right now. For me, it's like a 6 out of 10, which is like a D and maybe a D plus for what they did and didn't get right. The costumes and the CGI were kind of on point, with the exception of like the slow mo, and I think most of the actors like nailed the looks and characters and stuff. Sozin, Ozai, Gyatso, Iroh, Roku, and definitely Sokka and Zuko, in my opinion, were done right with the casting and stuff. But Sugi, Jet, Aang, and maybe a few others were kind of mid, in my opinion. But Katara, Azula, Kyoshi, Zhao, Bumi, Paku were complete misses when it came to the writing or the acting, okay? And that kind of low key annoyed me too, and I'll get into that later in this video. And to be honest with you, Zuko and Sokka, in my opinion, they kind of carried the show, because whenever they weren't on screen, it just, I was just in a hurry to just move on to the next. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, I want to get to a scene where we cut back to Zuko or cut back to Sokka or something. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. And this being limited to 8 episodes with an hour of like runtime at max makes sense to like kind of condense the episodes from the original series. But man, it felt like they were putting just 5 episodes together and just called it one, like a 5-in-1 kind of deal. Like they try to put in and I'm like, this is crazy. They put in the Souls this episode, which is a two-parter, and then they put in like the episode with June where she was hunting down Aang and stuff for Zuko, and then the episode with the Blue Spirit and stuff, and I'm just like, what? Or like the Omashu stuff, like they were trying to put in, they try to tie in Jet's storyline with Bumi with Omashu, and they also try to tie it in with the Professor and Tio from the, I could have sworn it was like the Western Air Temple, or something, or whatever, or the Northern Air Temple. Yeah, they try to tie in with that storyline, or that that episode, and what else? Just a lot of it. And I'm just like, yeah, these episodes don't correlate. You know what I mean? It's like that's like my problem there. That I have. It's just they don't like align, or it's just like, oh my god, you kind of just made it worse. Like I never had a problem with Omashu, but I'm not gonna lie to you, they really annoyed me a lot with with how they utilized Omashu. But I'll get into that in a second with my rant. So yeah. But anywho, but yeah, that's how I would like. That's my opinion on the series so far. Alright, so this section of my video is going to be a little bit of me ranting a little bit, so let's get into it. Alright, so nowadays, since Western media and culture is kind of interested in artificial female empowerment, I've talked about that before on this channel, they really, and I mean they really, doubled down on that here. Like, even before it was aired, there were talks about taking out the sexism, which took back a lot of the real fans, because those were like kind of small but important parts of like Sokka and Katara's character and stuff. Like, it taught Sokka that he can definitely learn from anyone and become a better protector, even from a girl like Suki and stuff, or Katara, like standing up to like Paku's ideals about like not training women and stuff like that. And not to mention, it's a very important part of the Water Tribe's culture, that men are the fighters and that women are the healers. It's not to say that women can't make good fighters, but nobody wants to put a woman's life in danger before like a man's, in the or in the place of a man. Because like, yeah, that's just how like Sokka and Katara kind of grew up. Like, how Sokka has that point of view, because like with his parents, for example, like his dad Hakoda, he was the fighter and stuff, and he was trying to fight the good fight against the Fire Nation, and his mom Kaya, like she was like the nurturer and stuff. She would like take care of Sokka and Katara and all that. That's just how it is. Yeah, what comes natural. But that was like the norm for like the Water Tribe, for the Southern Water Tribe, and especially the Northern Water Tribe. And they also, and I forgot to write this down too, they also like try to make Yue and stuff like Yue is okay here in the series. Like, she's not too bad. Like, she's not half bad, but I don't know why they made her into some weird spirit fox thing, which ironic because, I mean, I got the little fox profile and all that, and I call myself the Joan Little Fox. But still, I don't know why they were like, oh yeah, Yue is like a fox spirit or something, which she was not in the original, but okay. But anyways, apart from that, Yue was originally engaged, if you remember from the cartoon, and that her like her little fiance and stuff was like, oh, treated Yue, or well, he talked about Yue as if she was like a prize or something. But inside the Netflix show, they had to change it where basically Yue is getting married to this guy, like he's getting married to this guy, but she broke off the engagement or whatever. So, and the guy just like sucks up to her and is like, yeah, Yue makes her own decisions and stuff like that. I'm like, like, was that really necessary? Or was that supposed to show that Yue is a stronger character than what they were trying to portray from the cartoon? Because it doesn't work like that, okay? Or you're really trying too hard. But yeah. But anyways, they also kind of jaded some of the lore as well, like with the Cave of the Two Lovers, or claiming that Jet's mom was like the fighter in the family and stuff, and that she had taught him how to use hook swords, even though originally they were both kind of like, Jet's parents were both killed off, and then Jet had self-taught himself how to like, use hook swords and all that stuff, and he formed his own like, his own rebel group and stuff. That's how that turned out. But that doesn't make sense why his mom would be the fighter in the family and his dad would be like, oh, on the sidelines. Like, Jesus Christ. But anyways, not only and also not only can like Katara's actress not like really emote like that, but her dialogue is like kind of like, it sounds like she's kind of line reading, which this is pointed out by a YouTuber named Jay Lagoon and stuff that I watch and stuff. He's a hilarious dude, Jay Lagoon and stuff. I might actually use one of his clips for this video, probably, I don't know, but I'll think about it when I'm editing it.
I just need you to record this really quick to make sure that I'm not bugging, because this shit just cracked me the fuck up just now. Wait.
Looking for.
Just watch Katara.
Get her.
Watch Katara.
It's okay.
What the fuck are you? Yo! What the? Wait. Bitch! Act! Fucking act! You're in a movie, you're being paid money! Act! Holy fuck! Yo! Hey guys, me again. Episode 5 now, right? I had a lot of people in my comments in that last video talking about how I was overreacting and calling me a little bitch and saying that I was just trying to hate on the show for no reason. Let's all take a look at this scene really quick. Let's all really understand what we're looking at. Look out! Look out. Well, oh, that's a massive fucking creature. Let's see. Katara, are you scared? Are you scared? Because I can't fucking tell if you're scared or not. Guys, again, I'm not an actor, right? This is me if that fucking thing is in my face. Ah! What the fucking hell? What the fuck is that? I'm not an actor. But didn't it seem like I was kind of scared there? What the fuck is she doing? Fuck! I know I said I was done. I lied. All right, this video goes out to all the soft-brain, undeveloped little middle school dipshits who keep on trying to defend the Katara actress. Let's just all walk through this together so we can finally put it to rest. This is a good actor right here, okay? Let's look at his face. What emotion is that? Anybody wanna? Correct. Good job. He's sad. You can tell he's sad because he's acting. Okay, now let's just see what happens next.
Please,
oh, Katara.
come back. Hey, don't be an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just the Avatar, you're my family. This is your world. This is your home. We are your family.
Pause it. All right, so now let's look at her face really quick, guys. Oh, what emotion is that? I don't know either. I don't fucking know either. But it looks like happiness. Confusion. It's the same fucking emotion in every fucking scene.
But they even tried to like kind of push her character by saying that she was always like, she always had the power within, and she didn't need a master like Paku or something, which they made his whole belief about like not training women and stuff sound completely one-sided. And they kind of also neglected to mention that Paku was engaged to Sokka and Katara's grandma, Gran, or Kana and stuff. That yeah, Paku and Kana were engaged at one point and stuff. Like Paku genuinely actually had feelings for her, but it was kind of an arranged engagement and all that. But she broke it off and kind of left to the southern water tribe where she had a son, Hakoda, and then Hakoda got married and they had Sokka and Katara. But yeah, they forgot to mention that in this show, so or they missed that entirely. I was like, bro, like it just is more so like they were trying to demonize Paku and stuff, of course, and they do that a lot to a lot of the mentor, like the mentor or the more wiser characters and stuff, where they just make them just come off as unwise or just unnecessarily like just stoic and stuff, and I'm just like, no, that's not those characters. But anyways, or that's not what those characters would do. And then speaking of which, Suki's mom, she was an elder of the Kyoshi Island, even though originally her parents were never really mentioned. Now I haven't read the new Suki comic or whatever that got put out a while back, so I don't know if they ever covered her parents and stuff, like if she's an orphan or something or whatever. But Suki's parents were never explored inside the show, so I don't know why they're like, oh, well, her mom is like the elder and stuff, even though the elder was was this old guy and stuff, and he wasn't really a fighter. But apparently Suki's mom was a fighter, and apparently she's got like superhuman strength or some bullshit like that, and she trained the Kyoshi warriors. Like, bro, like remember that one scene? If you actually watch this show, like remember that one scene with the Kyoshi Island thing, where like the old lady, she just threw that one firebender dude. That was stupid. I was like, bro, what kind of CGI is this? This shit is terrible. Like I was like, get out of my face with that, bro. I know I said the CGI was actually pretty good in this show, yeah, for the bending and stuff, but for the but that was just stupid. I was like, what the fuck? Like, no, get the hell out of here, man. Nah, I don't believe it. But yeah, so that was also kind of stupid in my opinion too. So I didn't like that at all. But yeah, and then speaking of changes, this is one of my biggest gripes. Is they couldn't get Azula right, like either like they just couldn't get Azula right, like, and Azula's known for being like very composed and very cunning and stuff. She makes very good plays and stuff, but in this show she's belittled, she's hot-headed, she's jealous, and she always wants daddy's approval and stuff, and I'm like, that's not Azula. Like, look, and then in this show her biggest moment is proving to Ozai that she can lead, that she conquered what was it, Amashu and stuff or whatever, and she's got the helmet on, and I'm like, no, that ain't Azula. I'm like, nah. So anyways, for those of you who don't know Azula, she was never like lacking in the confidence department, and she kind of sat on the sidelines. Now I will say this: when it came to lacking in confidence, the only thing Azula lacked in confidence was that she was kind of jealous of Ty Lee with how approachable she was. And don't get me wrong, Azula is a cute girl and all, when you take out the crazy part of her, but the thing is though about like Azula was that she wasn't exactly approachable, like she was kind of scary and stuff. Guys didn't really want to talk to her and stuff like that, not because they didn't find her attractive. They were just like, yeah, but we don't do crazy, and that's kind of what Azula was, and that was kind of explored on Ember Island. But outside of like boy problems and stuff like that, Azula never had problems with her like confidence and all that, like when it came to like leading or whatever. Like that was, what I mean, or just being like very tactical, smart and stuff, And I'm definitely gonna give you a couple of examples here. But anyways, but she kind of sat on the sidelines and stuff until like Ozai decided to like, just go to her and stuff, and pick up where Zuko and Zhao had failed. That's how that turned out, because he was like, okay, Azula is a greater threat than Zuko and Zhao. That's how it was. And you'd think that like Azula was like almost like, and the thing is like Azula, she never failed, right? Like her biggest feats in the series were like defeating the Kyoshi warriors and stuff, almost destroying the wall of Ba Sing Se, something that Hyrule struggled to do, but Azula almost beat his record and stuff. She actually conquered Ba Sing Se. She became the leader of the Dai Li and stuff, and outsmarted Long Fei. And she even killed Aang at one point. Like she actually almost destroyed the Avatar cycle. At that too, like she almost destroyed the Avatar cycle. Because remember when in the season 2 finale, when Aang was in the Avatar state. Remember, Azula killed Aang and stuff. She shot lightning through his back and stuff while Aang was in the Avatar state. And if you know, basically, if you die in the Avatar state, or if the Avatar dies in the Avatar state, then the cycle is broken. Sorry, I can't speak. The cycle is broken, and the Avatar can't reincarnate again, and there will never be a next Avatar and stuff, and that's how that is. So that almost happened to Aang. Okay, Aang died, but thanks to Katara using spirit water, he brought Aang back to life and saved the Avatar cycle. So that's what I mean. Like, yeah, Azula was like a legitimate threat. Okay, that's just how she was, and she hardly ever failed. So that's the kind of things that make her imposing. But those things, those little things, they don't really show that in this show. And this character, it's clearly just not Azula. Like, she's not a hothead. She's not, oh well, I gotta prove myself to daddy and all that. No, Azula is more of, if I were to describe her, Azula is more so of a perfectionist. Okay, like for example, remember when one of the first couple of scenes where she's shown inside season 2, and she's practicing how to lightning bend and stuff. Like Azula can lightning bend perfectly fine and stuff, you know, because she's naturally talented like that. But she was trying to do it to a point where not even a single hair will be out of place. So like her movements will be like very fluid and stuff, where she can just do it flawlessly. Okay, and she always practice and stuff. You know, that's the type of person Azula is. All right, but in this show, they just showed her to be like, yeah, like just that, and I'm just like, no, that's not how you write a good villain. Okay, or they was like, oh well, she's consorting with General Zhao and all that, and I'm just like, no, sorry, that's no. But anyways, and then they kind of also wrote Avatar Kyoshi to no end. They kind of actually made me annoyed about Avatar Kyoshi even, or just made me think, you know what? At this point, Avatar Kyoshi is probably the most overrated Avatar just for this. But anyways, they kind of swapped Avatar Kyoshi's role and stuff in favor of Roku, even though Roku is more tethered to the war and he's more closer to Aang than any other Avatar. But okay, let's use Kyoshi, right? But anyways, they were kind of making stupid statements like Kyoshi being the only Avatar in existence to master the Avatar state, or temporarily trading places with Aang and stuff. Like, and they were trying to make this sound like, oh, this is the only thing. Like this is like what separates Kyoshi from everyone else. She's the only one that can do this, and I'm like, every Avatar can do this. Like, what are you talking about? Every Avatar known, Korra's like, yeah, Korra, even including Korra, they have all mastered the Avatar state. Korra's mastered the Avatar state, Aang's mastered the Avatar state, Kyoshi's mastered the Avatar state, of course Roku mastered the Avatar state, Korogu's mastered the Avatar state, Yang Chen, Wan, everyone. All those Avatars have mastered the Avatar state and all that, so it's not like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's not a small feat or anything, but once the Avatars master all 4 elements, and they become like spiritually aligned and all that stuff, they master the Avatar state, or they can go into it by will if they wanted to, and stuff. I mean, the thing was that Aang, since he was still young and he was still in training throughout most of the series, he couldn't just turn on the Avatar state whenever he felt like it, unless he was like really pissed off or something. But anywho, yeah, but they were trying to make it sound like, oh, Kyoshi is the only one that can do this, or like temporarily turning into Aang and stuff. I'm like, but Roku did it too when he destroyed the fire temple and stuff, or he almost destroyed the fire temple back during the Solstice episode, remember? But nah, we're not going to talk about that. But okay. But anyways, not to mention, I also don't like the fact that like she's too hard on Aang as well, like throwing it in his face that he ran away from the airbenders and all that stuff, and I'm just like, that's not something that Kyoshi, like in my opinion, I'm like, that's not something Kyoshi or any of the other avatars like Koroku and stuff would be just like doing to Aang. They'll just throw that in his face because they understand where Aang comes from, because like they know that he's human in the end of the day, and he's still like just a kid in the last Airbender series, that he's still like 12. So of course, you know, like, he was like, and it's not like he ran away because, you know, oh, he knew the firebenders were coming. He just ran away because he just didn't think he could handle the responsibilities. Not to mention, he was kind of told way too soon about being the Avatar like before any other avatar, you know, like because most avatars like find out when they're like 16 and all that, and then they undergo the training. um Kyoshi had a bit of a late start herself to being the avatar and everything, so I don't know why she's looking down on Aang in this situation. Like, that's dumb. But yeah, but I just felt like some characters like Kyoshi, Koroku and stuff makes no sense why they're being hard on Aang, despite being their past lives and stuff. Or Paku and Bumi and stuff, they're like treating Aang like, oh, well, it's your fault, you're the Avatar. And I'm just like, no, they're wise enough to understand that look, Aang's still just a kid and he's still learning. So they would have been more like sympathetic. Or it doesn't make sense like why Sokka as well, like from the first episode. I know I said I like Sokka in the show. I think he's all right, or he's pretty damn good in my opinion. But in the first episode or two, like Sokka, when he found out that Aang was the Avatar, he was like, "It was your fault that that the world is in the way that it is now, or for the Fire Nation." I'm just like, now look, if you know Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the thing is like Sokka was always in disbelief about stuff like spirits and supernatural stuff. I mean, bending. I mean, since he can physically observe it, yeah. Of course he knows bending is real, but all that other stuff, to him, it was like, nah, that's hocus pocus, or that ain't real. Nah, I don't believe it until I see it. And then when Sokka started experiencing it, he's like, all right, I believe it now. He's like, all right, I believe it now. But I don't think Sokka, when he first met Aang, he would just be hard on Aang just because, oh, well, he's the Avatar and he didn't fulfill his duty. Like, nah, Sokka would be like, the Avatar? What? He's like, that's real? Come on now. He's probably a Fire Nation spy or something, and like Sokka would like distrust Aang or whatever, but he wouldn't just be like, oh, well, he's the Avatar, it's his duty. Like, nah, Sokka will probably be in disbelief about it until he sees something. Like, he'd be like, oh shit, this kid really is something. You know what I mean? But those are just some small things I just feel like this show just didn't really get right with those characters and stuff, and I feel like it makes all the more difference. All right, and another thing is that I definitely want to talk about is the show doesn't understand the purpose of being an avatar. So Kyoshi described to Aang that being the avatar means being militant, ruthless, and godlike, which is wrong. Okay, being an avatar may give you godlike powers, but it's meant to be compassionate and understanding to all walks of life, like what it means to come from like a nation or any nation, like the water nation, air nation, earth nation, Fire Nation. Like every avatar understands and can relate to coming from all those backgrounds and stuff, experiencing hardship, understanding like what it means to like just to enjoy life. so the Avatar can like have something to protect. They actually covered this on a little special and stuff. I'll probably put a little bit of a clip of that in here, but not turning away like help and stuff or alienating your friends, like what the Netflix series like tried to claim that they would say, because Kuroku, like, yeah, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense why they would do that, or why they would tell Aang, oh yeah, well, you don't need friends, it just complicates things, you need to do everything by yourself. I'm like, no, they would never tell Aang to do some dumb shit like that. Now, I think when he got a little older and stuff, they were saying that Aang needs to be a little bit more stricter or whatever, I guess. But my point is, though, they wouldn't just tell Aang that, oh, you gotta shut yourself out from other people and stuff, and you gotta, nah. They would not tell Aang to like tell Aang all that, because the thing is, like, Heroku, Kyoshi, and Roku, they've all had friends who have taught them and kind of shaped their lives for better and for worse. Okay, they've had good people in their lives, and they definitely had some bad people in their lives. Okay, Koroku, he had some friends who took in Kyoshi, and who kind of definitely indirectly affected her life after his own death. Roku he's had bad friends like Sozin, of course, but he's also had good friends like Gyatso and Sud and stuff who have trained him, or that he's trained alongside with and stuff, that kind of like, their friendship kind of transcended generations and all that. Um, but yeah, it's just another reason also why Gyatso is so close to Aang as well, because like Roku and Gyatso were like good friends and stuff. But even in Korra's generation, like Aang's friends like Sokka, Zuko, Iroh, Katara, and Toph, they've all helped out and mentored Korra in some kind of like, in some shape or form, or in some kind of capacity. Like, remember, like, at least with like Sokka and stuff, like Sokka, unfortunately Sokka passed away before Legends of Korra the series had started, but during the time when he was alive, though, he saved Korra at one point from the Red Lotus and stuff. Zuko, he also saved Korra too from the Red Lotus, and on top of that, he also gave Korra some pretty good advice at one point, and mentored her a little bit. Iroh, he's given Korra some advice every time she enters in the spirit world and stuff. Katara, she is literally Korra's mentor and stuff. She taught Korra how to waterbend and stuff. She's her waterbending master and stuff. What else? She also helped Korra, like, mentally and physically and stuff, where she needed physical therapy and stuff when she was paralyzed. And then, mentally she had to get back to herself. And then, of course, Toph. Korra had a Luke Skywalker, Master Yoda moment with Toph in the swamps during, like, season 4 and stuff. That was a pretty cool, like, those are some pretty cool episodes right there, or some pretty cool moments with them. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, so I'm just saying, though, like, no, I don't think an avatar, like, any avatar would just be like, oh, well, you need to be alone, you don't need friends and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, they know better than that, because they've all had friends, or they've had some people that screwed them over big time, but they also had some pretty good friends and stuff that have gotten them to where they're at, or they wouldn't be as powerful as they were if it wasn't because of those people. And not only does this show not really understand the concept of being the avatar, but they don't understand Aang either. So there's 3 things that really contradicts Aang's character for this version, and that's Aang skipping classes, his airbending being too powerful, and Aang lacking in skill as a bender, even though he once held the record of being the youngest airbending master for his own skill. And this is where, sorry, I can't speak. And this was where the story or an example kind of overcomplicates itself for the worst, okay? Because the thing is, Aang has a lot of pride and a lot of respect for his own culture, okay? So, as well as the enthusiasm more than anyone in the entire series for it, apart from maybe Tenzin. But yeah, Aang would never skip out on classes like that. He wouldn't just be considered, like, to me, he'd be considered a straight A student, okay? I think Aang, Aang and Katara would definitely be straight A students. Sokka, I can see Sokka, he'll probably get a little bad luck here and there. He'd be a little average, but I think he can definitely, he's one of those type of guys that's like really smart, like low key, a genius and stuff, and he can definitely get his grades to that level. Toph will probably be the cool kid. She might skip classes and stuff like that or whatever, but I think maybe she could also pull some good grades, because you saw how she was like with her parents and stuff, where Toph will put on the act that she's just a good little girl. Yeah, I think Toph, yeah, she can get good grades. Zuko, if he was in school, Zuko will probably be a little bit of a late bloomer, where he'll probably bring home a few bad grades, or maybe he might just get a B or something like that, and his dad will crack down on him or whatever. But then, in the end of the day, like Zuko will show off and be like, okay, I really am smarter than that I give myself credit and all that. That's how I would see the Avatar characters in that type of school setting. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, my point is, because the thing is, Aang is very committed to his teachings and his philosophies and stuff, which earned him his airbending tattoos in the first place. It doesn't make sense why the show would say, oh, Aang's not skilled, but he's also like just powerful and stuff. I'm like, you kind of just undermined his own accomplishment right there. It just doesn't really feel right, especially since Aang's the last airbender and stuff. And he's the one that had to carry on the culture and the tradition and stuff to the next generation, like his children, like Tenzin, Bumi, and Kaya and stuff. Even though Kaya's not an airbender, and Bumi became an airbender later after Aang's passing, and Tenzin, like Aang pretty much taught Tenzin everything he knew, and then Tenzin passed it on to his children and the other airbenders that came back, But yeah, anyways, but my opinion on Aang is that Aang is a very iconic character on Nickelodeon, okay? For his anime-inspired design, his characterization, he's someone who can, like, just do no wrong, He's a good-hearted kid, carefree and wise, but he's also in the learning stages of his life and taking in, like, responsibilities as he's just unprepared for. He's also a little bit of a dorkable, like, when he's, like, he's a little adorkable, Like, he's ready to train with Toph and stuff, or Zuko, by calling him Sifu. He'd be like, Sifu Toph, Sifu Zuko, I'm ready, Sifu. And Katara would be all like, well, he never called me Sifu. And stuff, like, stuff like that. Or, remember when they were in, like, the Fire Nation and stuff? Like, they were trying to pass off as, like, Fire Nation citizens and stuff. And, like, Aang was all like, oh, hey, hello, my fellow Hotman. What's good, my Hotman? Stuff like that. Like, even though that's kind of an outdated term that the Fire Nation used to use back in the day. Not a slur or anything, but that was just a little, phrase that, it's kind of outdated by the time Aang's unthawed from the ice, but still. Stuff like that. Like, Aang's like, he's adorable, he's like, and he's a little, But anyways, or there's some moments where Aang kind of made friends with, like, prisoners and stuff. Like, remember when he was captured during the Avatar Day episode? Or was it Avatar Day? Yeah, during the Avatar Day episode. And he, like, made, like, some good bonds, and he opened up to those prisoners and stuff. And they were like, he was talking about how he has this crush on Katara and everything. And that was pretty cool. I like that. A little, a little campy, but I liked it, But yeah, and there's no shade to the kid that plays him and stuff. Although, personally myself, I kind of find his voice to be a little annoying. But, yeah, child actors and stuff, But, again, there's no shade. I mean, he actually definitely pulls off the look of Aang, but it's just like the direction with him is just way off. Or that these writers just don't understand Aang or his status as the Avatar. Like, making Wan Shi Tong able to, like, understand him and stuff because he's the Avatar, like, where his Avatar brain is different from, I guess, Sokka and Katara because, I don't know, reasons, whatever, even though in the original show, Wan Shi Tong, like, everyone can understand him, like humans and all that stuff. Zhao, he was able to understand Wan Shi Tong when he went to the little spirit library to get information about. So it doesn't make sense why Aang would be the only one who can understand Wan Shi Tong because, oh, well, he's a spirit. Like, no. Anyways, I'm going to get to my overall thoughts. Alright, so what are my overall thoughts? So, like I said before, I'll give this series, honestly, a D+. So, between, like, a 60% to, like, a 70%, as a score. Like, a 70% is, like, a C, but I gotta say, it's definitely somewhere in the 60s as far as my score goes. They went all out definitely and got the looks down the most part. But I think is that why was such time for if you're going to just put bad changes in there that no one had a problem with before, And I can see why the original creators of the show, like, left the production because they didn't want to, like, meet them halfway, pretty much. Like, to me, they could have made a good side story or something out of this where it could have just followed a random bender or something who just wasn't the Avatar. But maybe he was probably like inspired from like the Avatar and his friends and stuff like that, or this could have like taken place a little bit after the Last Airbender. I'm not talking about like all the way inside Legends of Korra, or they could have probably done that too. But I'm just saying like a side story where, oh, okay, this happened a little bit after and this is we're gonna follow this character's point of view, kind of like let's say the Mandalorian and stuff. Like the Mandalorian, obviously, it's in the Star Wars universe. Obviously, it's distant from Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia and all them, but like the Mandalorian is doing his own thing. That's what I'm saying. Like they could have done something like that, in my opinion. Where okay, this is just this character. He's in the Avatar universe. He's a bender. Just choose an element for him, and he's just like, oh, okay. And you could probably introduce, or you could probably have a few like of the Avatar characters make some cameos, like Boomy, Paku, or whatever, or hell, they even actually left out John John. Speaking of which, in this show, like John John was supposed to be in book 1, but they completely forgot about him. But since they have this, they might as well fully commit with a book 2 and a book 3, just to top everything off, right? You know, hopefully they take some of the criticism, actually adapt Toph correctly, and stop over dramatizing basic story directions and stuff. Like, you know, like that's what they were doing. Like they were like just overcomplicate everything. Like I said, the Cave of Two Lovers, they had to make that overcomplicated and all that. It was just stupid, you know. But I'd be lying if I said that there weren't some things that I didn't enjoy, like Gyatso versus Sozin and stuff. I actually like that because we finally get to see what Gyatso can do and all that. Because we know Gyatso used to hold the record, or he used to be known as like the best airbender in the world and stuff. He even had a whole statue in his name about that. So that wasn't just Aang just simply boasting about it or anything. He was saying like, yeah, Gyatso is like legitimately the best airbender in the entire world. And Sozin and stuff, you know, like these two old friends of like Roku and stuff going at it. And I guess it does kind of make it interesting, in my opinion, that Sozin is the one that killed Gyatso and stuff, you know. And then there's Zuko versus Ozai. Like, I know in the original, like, Zuko never really fought Ozai, or he couldn't bring himself to fight him, you know, when Zuko got his scar and everything. But I liked how in here I did like the action, though, in my opinion, where he did fight Ozai. But I still feel like they should have really kept Ozai. Like they should have showed like silhouettes and stuff, or at least made like, I don't know, shadowy figures and stuff of him and Azula, because I feel like they really ruined the mystique that certain characters had, or like, you know, because the thing is like Ozai never really appeared in like, well, he appeared in season 1 and 2, but he was always more of a silhouette, or he was always a shadowy figure and stuff where you can hear his voice in the background, but you never actually saw his face until like at least in season 2 or season 3. Because you see him in a flashback, I think, from Zuko in season 2 or something, or season 3. And then in season 3, you actually get to see his face, or see him present when Zuko returns from What's-His-Face. Returns to the Fire Nation stuff after all those years, you know? That was a pretty good dramatic reveal. Or like Azula and stuff, you know? Azula is shown by the end of season 1, you know? Like, she was kind of had a cameo when Zuko got his scar in season 1. And Zuko brought her up, you know, had mentioned Azula and stuff, you know, when he was with Aang at the North Pole. But other than that, you know, and then Azula showed up, and Zuko was like, oh, God, what do you want? You know, in season 2. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, but I feel like, yeah, they missed out on the mystique and stuff. But there were a few jokes, though, I'm not going to lie, that did kind of catch me off guard that I actually did like when Roku was with Aang and stuff, and Roku was like, having this demanding voice, and he was telling Aang, you must bow before me and all that. And I was actually thinking, is he serious? Roku would not be like that to Aang. And then he was like, now hop on one foot. And I'm like, okay, he got me with that one. He got me. Or when Zuko and Iroh were just talking and stuff, and Iroh was like, okay, do you have a plan to capture the Avatar? And Zuko was all like, you don't think I have a plan? He was like, I've been exiled, I've been planning this since I for 3 years, and you don't think I have a plan? And I was like, so you don't got a plan? I'm working on it, uncle. I like that. I actually do like it though. So I mean, so yeah, like I said, there were a few moments that I did like in this show that did kind of catch me off guard, or I actually liked, or whatever. But for the most part, though, in the grand scheme of things, they just didn't really understand the show or the characters and stuff. It's just like the show is kind of just fan service for being just fan service, you know? So, in my professional opinion, the show is a bit of a hit or miss. That's just how I would summarize it. But tell me down below what you guys think. Do you guys hate the Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix show? What did you think about the original series or whatever? What do you think of Korra? I don't care. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. All right, this is the Joni Level Fox, and I'm out. Peace, and until we meet again.